Hello everybody and welcome back to our YouTube channel, African Mom's World. We are on the hills of Kilimambogo and it's a chilly day, quite different from how it was yesterday. Yesterday was quite hot, but I understand issues to do with the climate. Today is hot, tomorrow is cold. We actually don't understand it. But today I have a guest, and please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Frida Wayeme, and I have a YouTube channel, Grandma Frida. Please, let's also meet here. Today I've just come to visit my friend, African woman. Welcome.
Thank you. And so today we are preparing indigenous vegetables. In the local language we call it mchicha. And this is how we prepare it. We have just bought it from the market.
In my tribe we call it simboka.
Yes, then because we are all from one community in the western part of Kenya, it's close to the same.
Yeah.
Though we are different dialects, but we are all from one community. So us, we call it chimboka. And this vegetable actually can be mixed with other vegetables like managu, like saga. Some communities call it saget. I don't know how you call it in your mother tongue.
Yes.
This is how it looks like.
And you can also cook it without mixing it with any other veggies.
Just the way we are going to cook it today.
Yeah.
We'll just be preparing this vegetable alone.
And by the way, you can eat them even with rice.
Rice? I haven't tried with rice.
Rice?
We can
Have you
try.
ever tried with chapati?
Yes,
when
with
you fry
chapati
very
I
well
have.
with chapati.
I have.
And then with ugali.
Yes. So today we are going to make the vegetables. Then we'll also cook with the meat. We have actually bought some meat and we are going to roast it the African way, the way our grandmothers used to prepare it. And I am sure we are going to have a great feast today. We'll also make ugali and we will do it on the 3 stones, just the way we were taught by our mothers. It goes slowly and it ensures that it has cooked well.
By the way, how do you make the veggies? You know me, I do like so.
You cut the whole thing
I
like
cut
this?
from here.
Plus the stick?
No, not with the stick. From here like this, and like this. I don't know whether you do it the same way.
What I do, you see the way it's long like this? I pluck it like that and then I use my finger.
Oh, you remove that? That's veggies.
This long stick here?
Yes.
Oh.
That's veggies.
You know, I'm seeing you putting them like this.
No, that's veggies.
Oh.
That's what makes the
mchicha very
Don't
sweet.
waste food.
I know the way it's dry now.
When we were growing up,
yes,
you remember our parents would really be very careful on how we
waste.
grow things.
Yeah.
This is a waste.
What about the bottom here?
The bottom
is that
here,
right that I've done that?
Yes, you can do it that way.
Yes.
You know, in Africa, by the way, if you don't know, we used to be very big families.
Yes.
So because you'd get our parents having 6, 5 children, and of course there was plenty of food, but we needed not to waste.
Yeah.
So you can still, so we would use, even though some families will just put together with those stocks. But this last one, I do it this way. This is the way I do it. But you know, people have different ways of preparing. Yeah. And then
actually I've seen some people doing this, right? You remove this one. You see the way I've removed like this. But you also weigh where this stock is, where the softness is. So if you can break it like that, you know this is hard.
Yes.
Then now this one,
you can cook it.
You just cook it like that.
Yes. Yeah. And that was to cater for the large families.
Yes.
Because we used to live in a communally. So that you would find in a family, the patriarch, the grandfather is there with the wife, with the grandmother, and then all the sons with their families. We would eat together.
Communal eating.
Yes.
Yeah, and so, you know, actually that communal eating was very nice. Because it was story time. That is when mothers would find time to talk to their children. That's when we'd get lessons.
Yeah.
Especially when Granny was around.
Mm?
Oh, I really
And it
miss
was not
those
just
moments.
eating time. Even when you're making these veggies, you would all be together.
Yes.
As a family, the ladies are busy plucking, because you go to the garden. It's just that here in Nairobi, we can't do that. You go to the garden, you pluck from the garden, and then you come, and all the ladies are seated here, and that is the time we learn a lot.
Yeah.
As we pluck
A
these
moment
veggies.
to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how many moms are teaching their daughters how to prepare some of these vegetables, or do they just know that vegetables are found in the supermarket? Yeah, that's something
Yeah,
good for people to watch such videos.
Yeah, but times have passed also.
Yes.
I agree.
Uh-huh.
People are living in towns, in urban areas.
Yes.
So you may not have the garden, although it's not an excuse. Like this place of yours,
We
believe me,
can,
you can have a garden.
yes.
Yeah.
I think that's something you need to do. As long as you have some little water, you can be able to put in. So we are continuing to make the vegetables, then we will cook them. And before I forget, you may be wondering just how we look today. Yeah, this is how African moms work, so that you do not spoil your dress. You need to have a lasso or a kanga. I don't know how you call it, but at least some protective gear.
Yeah.
So this is equivalent to the aprons people have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just tie it like that very firmly, then you're able to work. Yeah. So let's continue.
Now you can cut.
Yes, thank you. So I want to light the fire. And we have the 3 stones, which is typical of an African home. So I have paper here, which I'll use to light the fire, and I'm cutting them into small pieces. So you may be wondering where the vegetables are, but this is an African woman. Always multitasks, so that you're able to do things within a very short time. Now the problem is the wind. I'm trying to light the fire. Let me hide it like this. Ooh. So I will remove small pieces of this wood so that I'm able to light the fire, and we can begin the process of cooking the food.
When you're
So
growing
now-
up, let me
yes.
ask you, did you ever go to collect firewood?
I was just about to talk about fetching the firewood from the forest.
Yeah.
I remember when after school, when coming from school, the first thing we used to do was to go and look for the small firewood from the trees, small forest around.
Or sometimes even from within the fence.
Just within the fence. And that's the one that we would use in the morning, especially when you are about to go to school. You know, if you didn't fetch those small firewoods in the evening, in the morning you'd have problem, because it was going to be wet, and it was the one that was going to light the main fire for you to make tea very quickly and run to school. So these are good memories of an African woman.
Can I tell you something? Yeah?
Yes.
When you were talking, I'm just remembering.
Mm-hmm.
In my mother tongue,
Mm-hmm.
to get married
Yes.
is to go and cook.
Yes.
You know, the words used for my daughter is getting married
Yes.
was my daughter is going to cook.
Ate Hawaii. You know, somebody would just ask you, Ote Hawaii. Yani, where are you?
Yeah.
Where did you go to cook?
Yes.
In other words, they're asking you, where did you get married?
So
Too.
that actually meant that the role of a woman by that time, because there wasn't a lot of education for the girl child,
Yes.
there was that belief that the role of a woman was to cook.
In the kitchen.
Yes,
Food
although
preparation.
that has really been overtaken by events because of the new way of life, yeah?
Yeah.
Men are also now cooking, but there is value in learning how to cook.
Yeah. Cooking is a very nice thing because you're going to save on eating out.
Is your video going, Mama? Is it on?
My video is on.
Okay.
Yes, and I can be seen. So within a very short time, I've been able to light up the fire. Yeah. So we can. Grandma Frida here is preparing the veggies.
Yeah,
Actually, they are already washed.
I've already washed them.
Yeah. So now we can put them.
Is it the
Well,
veggies?
we can put the meat first,
Yeah.
right? Because the veggies take a very short time. So I had where is the
meat is here.
not the meat? I'm looking for this. This is called a roasting what? A wire. I would just call it a wire.
It was mainly a wire mesh kind of.
Yeah. This is locally made actually. We just made it here locally. And there are many ways in which you can prepare meat. For today, we are going to roast it. So do you wash your meat when you're roasting it?
I do. No, I don't.
Yeah, there are people who do it differently.
I don't. When I'm roasting, I don't.
Let me know what you do. For me, I don't, but I just want to wash my hands first because I've been holding the firewood.
Your knife is so sharp.
Take care, don't be cut, don't be cut. Yeah. So, we purchased some meat from the butchery. And actually I told the butcherman not to cut it into pieces. It's a bit fatty, but that's still fine. So in order to put it, to cook it, how do you do yours? No? I want to split it just a bit.
By the way, meat has, there are many ways to make meat, yeah?
Yeah.
Traditionally, do you remember the meat we used to roast for so many days for preservation? You remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
You roast it and then it is dry.
Yeah.
So that you can eat a little.
Yes, it was a way of preserving meat. You roast it the way she's doing with very little fire. The following day you still roast, and you do that every day for almost a week, isn't it?
Yes.
And then you would store it. You remember?
Yes.
Well, we used to store it in that traditional soda ash.
Soda ash.
In the
Yes.
pots.
In a pot. And you know this dried meat has a lot of meaning in our local language. You know, when you differed with your husband and you came back home yourself, you have brought yourself home. You know, moms would never want anybody to separate. So there was always meat ready. You come and they would give you some of that dried meat because it was always there. Then they give you with flour. Normally it used to be, what do you call it, the millet flour. And they tell you, my daughter, marriage is about perseverance. So go with this meat and this flour. And I don't know what the belief was. And a chicken, a live chicken, you have carried it like this. Imagine.
Yeah.
Go back to your home. And they tell you to zip, your mouth. Zip, mama. It will be well. In the evening, you have stayed with your mother. She has encouraged you. You have forgotten that you are angry. You go back.
Yeah.
And cook the meat and the chicken the following day. And
you
are happy.
By the way, that helped a lot.
Yes.
We had very little divorce cases.
Yeah.
Of course, there was separation, and I am not denying there was no divorce, but it helped a lot. The mother's role in marriage was very important to encourage your daughter.
Yeah.
And if there was continued disagreement between the couples, what used to happen?
What I know among my community, there is a court that used to be in a place called Sirisia, a family court. And in that court, you would go with your relatives and your husband would go with their relatives. So they are seated on two sides. And you now begin bringing, you are asked, Mama, what is the problem? You start explaining. So for example, the one that made me laugh, this one my grandmother told me, that if he continually did not eat your food, you were supposed to cook the ugali and keep. The one that he doesn't eat, you just keep. Then you go and report. So on that day of the court, you have exhibit. Just carry the whole lump of the whole mulima, Every day you've been piling. Then the elders would now make a ruling. Ask him first, why did you not? Is it true that you have not been eating? Then he complains and says, no, she's not there.
Sometimes
exhibit.
she's not cooking.
She's not cooking very well. Wow. Good to remember some of those
yes, and
things.
That brought a lot of discipline in marriages.
Yes.
Times have changed.
Mm.
There are no longer those courts.
Today that one is not there.
Today we would call them kangaroo courts.
Actually, later on I had it being called a kangaroo court. And it disappeared.
So these days, it's different. But maybe you need to give advice to our children about marriage.
We need to, because times have also changed. What surprises me is that like our grandmothers were not able to choose their partners. No, they were chosen. They were chosen for them. And they survived those marriages. And you learned to be in it.
And people married very young.
Yeah, they married very young. Like my grandmother was telling me she got married at 17. Yeah.
Even our own mothers, they were getting married very young.
Very early.
And because of that lack of exposure and what have you, and the belief in marriage, it was like ladies must get married.
Yeah.
So once you're into that marriage, you have to find a way of sticking in that marriage. And my mother has kept on telling me something.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it is true that ladies are the people who sustain a marriage.
Yeah. In fact, my mother used to tell me, or keeps telling me, Mama, chunga boma lako. What does that mean? Does that mean it is me who is supposed to maintain that marriage or ensure it is very interesting. So let's leave the meat to continue to cook, and then we will catch up again. So our cooking continues, and now it's time for us to cook the ugali. I have to ensure that my lasso is tied well so that I don't soil my clothes. Now the first step is once the water is boiled is to put a little flour. And why we put just a little flour is to allow it to bubble so that you're sure that the water has boiled. Then once you do that, you now take a little flour. At the beginning we'll put a little more, You may ask about the amount of flour that we are putting. I have not estimated, but as you cook, you're able to feel the texture and see whether you need to add more flour or not. So I have put the flour and have allowed it to boil a little, and then slowly I mix the flour. So basically ugali, which is the main staple for our country, Kenya, full of energy, and the flour is made from maize. It's made from maize. The grains are actually just taken to the posho mill and ground. So this is whole grain. I mean, it's whole flour, nothing removed. It's not sifted, it is whole. And my community in the western part of Kenya is actually known for that, eating ugali and even cooking ugali. We actually cook it like every day, probably twice a day, for lunch and for dinner. The only thing about ugali is that you need to eat it earlier if you're eating it for supper, because you stay full for a long time. So if you're to allow digestion to take place, then you need to prepare it early so that you can have a good night's sleep. And this is how we cook ugali. You just mix it and ensure that we don't have any flour left in it. So you allow it to cook. It's very hot. The fire is very hot. So I'd ideally use this. And because the pan is also, the cooking pot is also very heavy, which is good for the fire. Okay, so you keep cleaning the cooking stick. I'll add just a little flour. It's actually cooked well, but you don't make it thick initially. As you have seen, I've just been gradually adding the flour and ensuring that you don't have too much heat, or the fire is not too much. Yeah. So the 3 stones, why the 3 stones? I'm not so sure about the meaning of why the 3 stones, but in the African culture, this first stone here had a lot of meaning, because once your husband passes on, this is the stone that is normally removed. And when you're cooking, you put your foot here like this to hold so that the sufuria or the pan does not fall. So I have put a wire, the wire that I used for roasting the meat, just to give extra support, because this was for you. I was actually making this video for somebody to learn how is it done. And those who are in different parts of the continent who may not know how this ugali is made, I hope you have learned something. And when you are in Kenya, when you're around, ask for ugali. So the African mom would actually cook it and remove the fire so that it's not now this hot because it's almost ready, and I'm being careful so that I don't burn my hands. Yeah, so that we allow the heat for it to cook with a little fire. So the African woman would actually remove the cooking stick and then cover it and remove some of the fire here and put on top of the lid so that it cooks slowly. And I tell you, that cooking, you would even eat it like a cake because it has cooked so well. Even the smell would just tell you that it is ready. I can't wait to eat it. So why I am smearing it like this on the edge is for it to mix well and to ensure that everywhere is cooking. So we need, this is actually cooking in love because the process it takes to cook this ugali is quite a big process. That heat, yeah, and you know there are some different types of cooking that you can use. It doesn't have to be the 3 stones. There are other modern methods of cooking that have come up where we're using clay. These stones have been molded into clay, and a clay fitting is also put in, so this holds a lot of heat, and you can cook it slowly and slowly, and it tastes as if it has been in an oven. So we have used the maize flour, but there are different types of ugali that you can make, and this is preferred mainly in different regions. The western part of Kenya, there is maize flour, there is also millet flour, there is sorghum flour, and also there is cassava flour. So you can either cook this separately or even you can mix, and it becomes very nutritious. But for this is good for those people who eat maybe a meal once a day, those who are doing construction work, because it will make you very satisfied and you can do a lot of work. That's why when you look at the men from our community, they're normally strong because of the work they do, and that's why they would always prefer to eat ugali. So our ugali is actually ready, and because I'm just about to finish cooking it, I want to put a little more fire now so that I remove it on a high note. Yeah, so just a little bit, then we will be able to remove it. So thank you, my people, once again for watching. I hope you're learning, and let me know how you cook ugali in your community. I'm aware that in western part of Africa they call it saza. I think that's Zimbabwe, and it's a bit lighter than this. Even in Kenya we have a community, the Kalenjin, they also don't make it as thick as we make it, but some communities like in the Kisi community, they make it just the way we make it here. You see, it's just a thick paste, very thick paste. I don't want to hurry it or harakisha. Harakisha in Kiswahili is doing it in a hurry, because this is made in love. And that's how we make the fire when it has gone off. You just blow it and ensure, just being careful that it doesn't any of the particles from the firewood gets into the food. I know some of you are wondering if some of this smoke or the food is going to taste smoky. No, it will not. It will not. I want to use a little paper just to be able to light it up. You can even use a matchbox as you light it. I need a matchbox. Okay, here it is. So I just want to finish up on a high note with some good heat there. I hope my visitor is going to enjoy the meal. And you see, in just one meal we have an animal protein which we have made. Then we have the indigenous vegetable rich in vitamins and minerals. Then we have this starch that will give us a lot of energy. Yeah, so you don't really need a lot of muscle to be able to make the ugali. It's just an art, it's a skill that you need to acquire to make a nice ugali. So our ugali is ready, and I'm going to look for my plate, and then we are ready to go. So I have to be careful that it doesn't fall. So there we are. Our ugali is ready. So our meal is ready, and I'm serving the vegetables. I want to make sure I have enough, and for my visitor as well. So this is how our ugali looks like. This is our vegetable. Now this is our meat, and I'm going to cut it. My hand is clean. I have actually washed my hands, and we have salt on the standby just in case we need to have a taste of it. Here. And sit to eat. So my ugali, I will not cut it the way we normally slice nowadays. Eat it the traditional way, where you just use your hand and you pinch. Actually, it's called omega. And then, although this one I've taken too much, don't take too much. Okay, make it in a bowl. Okay, then with my finger I have a space there. Put in some vegetables, and it's really nice, very soft. Bite my nyama choma. So thank you for watching. I hope you have learned something, and finish up, I want to invite Grandma to also come and make her serving and enjoy the food. So check her out on her YouTube channel at Grandma Frida.
Grandma Frida.
Yes. She has a lot of content, and for those who are planning to retire or have retired, you can go and get information from there. Keep on watching African Moms World. If you have any comment, don't feel shy. Please leave it in the comment section. Give us ideas of what else or what you think about the video that we have made, and we will continue making such videos. If you have an idea of what else we can do, please let us know. Kindly subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.